Hi, we are talking today about skincare specifically as it relates to both psoriasis and something called Keratosis Pilaris, also known as KP. Now, you all know I am a Pilates teacher, I'm a physical therapist, I am not a dermatologist at all. I'm giving you this information because I personally was diagnosed with psoriasis over 10 years ago. I know what it's like to suffer through that. And then our beautiful daughter was born with KP. She is almost 8 now. So I've spent the better part of a decade trying to research and find natural products, things that I can buy over the counter, talk to dermatologists on how we can manage both of those things in our household. So that's where I'm coming from with this. I'm going to tell you the products we have found that we really like that work. I can tell you some of the things that I have tried that don't work. And I can tell you when I have gone to a dermatologist to get medication, because there's definitely times I've had to do that as well. And then at the end, I'll tell you how we use all of them in a daily routine that works for us. I have found that for both of those conditions, psoriasis and KP, it's a very similar routine, even though they have different mechanisms on how they work as a skin condition. So it's really nice that we can actually use the same thing. So I'll go through that. I can't tell you if it helps rosacea, eczema, those kind of things. Feel free to leave it in the comments. Someone else might be able to help you with those, but I can't comment on those because I have never dealt with them personally. This is just my experience, okay? So we're gonna start with the most mild, and then we're gonna move to probably the least mild of the products that we have used. So for psoriasis, just to keep in mind, it is characterized by what they call scales or plaques. It gets really itchy. The skin can dry into these scales, and then sometimes they'll fall off. It's very different than dandruff. Go to a doctor if you aren't sure. That's how I was diagnosed. Finally, I did kind of figure it out on myself, but I was diagnosed by a dermatologist. For me, I get it the most on the back of my scalp here. So that'll be a little different because there's shampoo options. So back of my scalp, sometimes my earlobes, and then I have had one really bad case on my face a few years ago. And that is when I went to the doctor and got medicine right away. It hurt, it was itchy, it was red, it was bad, and it was gone within a week with medication. So there are gonna be times that you are gonna want to go that route. I am talking today about the things that you can use at home that we use to help us manage things. KP, I can tell you, is characterized, they call it chicken skin. Our daughter was born with it. Both of these conditions are incurable. There's not a cure for them. It's again something that you want to manage. Many times with kids, the research shows that it can be gone by the age of 30. I know it isn't always, but for many it is. It's what the literature says. So it's characterized by bumpy skin. Sometimes it can get itchy in our daughter. With her, it's worse in the heat. So in the summer when she's sweating a lot, it gets worse. But typically it's upper arms, thighs, and face. And again, it's just bumpy skin. 99% of the time, it doesn't bother her whatsoever. And so I'm the one, right, as a mom telling her we're gonna do these things to help manage it. So let me tell you what we use. All right, so these are the products that we have found that we like, that I keep here at the house. One of the most important things that you can do to keep yourself and your skin healthy is to stay hydrated. And I personally know how hard that can actually be. I have great aspirations every morning to drink my water, and by the end of the day, I feel like I've never had enough. Built Boost actually helps me hydrate myself. It is a powder that you put in 16 ounces of water. It's delicious, and it's full of vitamins that I need, vitamin B, vitamin C, so it helps boost my immune system. It also has echinacea, and it gives me natural energy, so I don't crash, I feel good, and I know I'm staying hydrated. My friends at Built Boost have offered you a coupon. Use code VALANT20, VALANT 20, to get 20% off your order, and the link is below. So I'm gonna tell you first, kind of like I said, the most mild, and I'm gonna show you both of these, coconut oil and shea butter. I'm gonna start with coconut oil. So when I first started researching this years and years ago, coconut oil wasn't coming up very much, but I knew it was something that worked well on skin from other research and things I had tried and things I had done. So I used it first on myself, on my scalp, and found that it actually worked pretty well. And then what I did is I ended up mixing it with some shea butter, because with both KP and psoriasis, one of the things is you want to keep it moisturized, okay? That's what it needs. With the psoriasis specifically, what happens is you keep it moisturized when you're in a flare, and it can help the plaques come off, that scaly stuff come off. So what I find that I would do is use the coconut oil again on the back, both on my earlobes when they were really itchy and dry and they hurt, and then also on the back of my scalp. I would put it on in the morning on the day that I'm going to wash my hair that night, because it is oily. It's something to keep in mind, I know, so we have to work around these things. So I'd put it on the back of my scalp in the morning. It would help some of those plaques come off. It would calm the itching down. And then that night I would wash my hair. I would wait a couple days and do it again. And then what ended up working really well for me was I would mix 1 part coconut oil with 1 part shea butter, because this is less oily. This is a great natural moisturizer. And so I would keep that just in a little tub that I made myself. Again, half and half. It's shelf stable, so I would just keep it in with my skincare stuff. And I would use it, again, sometimes at night on the back of my scalp and sleep that way, on my face, on my earlobes. And that was my first foray, my first step into trying to kind of deal with it naturally. And that worked really well. And I still use this. And I think it's great on kids as well. Okay, so this is something that if my daughter was 6 months old, I would be happy to rub coconut oil on her skin to help, because what you're trying to do is soften up those bumps. Okay, so these are 2 things that I have found are really, really helpful for me. Now, one other thing, and I don't have it here to show you, but something that I have found in the last year that I adore and use a lot is CBD salve. Okay, so CBD in the salve is a rub. Basically, it's not lotion. It's actually called salve, S-A-L-V-E, and it is great for skin. I have found it personally, and again, there's also some cases out there that show that it can be really good for skin conditions. I have now used that a little bit more than the coconut oil. So I will use them both and interchange them, especially again on the back of my scalp. But that CBD salve has been a life changer for me, just on managing when it's itchy, when it's bothering me. It also is something I feel comfortable using on my 7-year-old. Again, it's topical, you guys. CBD salve has no marijuana properties whatsoever in it. So don't worry about that. You can go do your research on it. But it's something that'll rub in and can help. So I use that mostly on myself. Occasionally I have used it on her arms, but mostly on myself, and it's something that I really have had good results with, okay? So let's move now into something called KP Away. So I want to talk a little bit about age. So those, like I said, are the most mild things that I have that I would be comfortable if my daughter was 6 months old putting those on her body. She is now almost 8, so we're at a point we're trying to, find some things she can do for herself and manage it, and that we can both kind of use. So this is something I found recently. We're halfway through this. It's called KP Away, and it's kind of something I found that's called a cult favorite. So we're going through the whole tub, and so I can't tell you whether it's something that really has had great results or not, because they say to use the whole tub about 90 days, use it before you see results, but a lot of parents say they're seeing great results with this. I like it because it is free of all the stuff out there I don't want on her body. So that is something that's been hard for me to find. It's important to me to have products that do not have parabens in them, that do not have sulfates in them. You want things that don't have fragrance if you can help it. You want the most mild, sensitive things that you can find for both skin conditions. And there's a lot of reasons I don't want parabens in our bodies, so I find things that don't have parabens for our family. But at the same time, it's hard to find things that then have the added ingredients and properties that we need for these skin conditions. So KP Away doesn't have any of that yucky stuff in it. It has water, it has coconut oil, it has emulsifying wax in it. It has things that are meant to keep the skin moisturized. And it's just a white lotion. I don't know if you can see inside. It's just a white lotion. And it's nice because it's less oily than the coconut oil. So one thing I will tell you is a lot of these things are going to feel like the coconut oil. They're going to feel oily. I don't like it either, but I can deal with it, and I'm an adult. Kids, not so much, at least my kid. First off, I'm not going to load her up with oil in the morning on her body and have her rub it all over our furniture. And 2, bless her heart, our kids sometimes are sensitive with what goes on their bodies and their skin, right? So this is nice because it's a thick lotion, but it does rub in, which is really important to me when it comes to her doing it on her own and us doing it every day. So we do it in the morning and we do it at night right after bath or shower. And again, it's called KP Away, and it's specifically formulated for Keratosis Pilaris. And I have really liked it so far. Okay, so that is one that I do like. Now, I'm gonna start one more mild one. This is what we use on our daughter's face. So it's actually Neutrogena Ultra Gentle. It is paraben free, which is nice. Not all Neutrogena products are, so I found this one specific. I have tried some other face washes, haven't liked as much. This one I do really like. Again, it's something she can use on her own, or I can use for her when I'm helping her. Super gentle. It's not specifically for KP necessarily, but when you are looking at face wash or body wash, you want the most gentle, least stringent possible. Okay, so that's what I use for her on her face. Now, we're gonna go into the things that are a little less gentle, because if you've done some research, you have probably read about salicylic acid for both of these conditions, psoriasis and KP especially. So salicylic acid, or alpha hydroxy acid, or urea, sometimes they'll talk about those three things. Those are all meant to slough off dead skin cells, which again, with the plaques, with psoriasis, with KP, that can help get to the skin below, and then you can moisturize and help that, which can help the bumps. So salicylic acid, again, what I have found in my research is that you don't want to give it to kids under the age of 2. I personally was not comfortable giving it to our daughter till she was about 6, okay? And let me tell you why. If you are a woman who's ever used a serum with alpha hydroxy acid in it, and let's say you've put that serum on with possibly a sunburnt face, you know how much that can burn, because it's actually doing things to your cells. It's sloughing off the dead skin cells. So imagine doing that to a young child who has sensitive skin already. If they don't have the words to tell you that it's hurting, then they can't give you that feedback. So knowing what it feels like myself to put it on, I was not comfortable giving it to her till she was 6, until I could get that verbal feedback from her on how it felt. So that was my personal choice. Again, I have read things out there that say you can do it after the age of 2. I personally didn't want to do it until she was a little bit older than that. But salicylic acid, I have found really good results for me personally with the psoriasis. I have seen good results with our daughter with the KP using products with salicylic acid in it. So let me show you one of them that I really like. It's a brand called Touch. This is KP exfoliating lotion. It has 12% glycolic acid and 2% salicylic acid. Touch was actually a brand developed specifically for KP, and they've expanded a little bit, but it was specifically developed for that. It has no parabens, it has no sulfates, it has none of that stuff in it. And so it's a brand I can trust. It's easy to access. All of this is really affordable. And so this is a brand that I do like. We're using their lotion right now. It does have the salicylic acid in it. So let me tell you what I do. This is my mama hint. If you have a child with KP who either doesn't like the oil on them or doesn't like to put on lotion, or if they are sensitive and they just don't want anything that might burn a little bit, which again, salicylic acid will. So try it on yourself first. One hint, try it on yourself first. You should know how it feels. Second, try it on them when they're awake. Let them give you some feedback. And if you blow on it right away, after you put it on, it makes it feel a lot better. And it's gone within 30 seconds, okay? But something to keep in mind. But what I typically do is I'll use this for her just once or twice a week. I don't use it every day, once or twice a week. And I go in an hour after she's asleep and I rub it into her face and her upper arms when she's asleep. Our daughter sleeps really deeply. She doesn't wake up. She doesn't have to worry about the lotiony feel or the oily feel at all, and it can take all night to seep into her skin. It doesn't bother her. That is how I make some of this work. But again, try it on them when they're awake, get feedback. You want to make sure that you're treating your child in a way that they will feel empowered with this. That's what I'm working with. I know it's hard, but I want her to feel empowered about it. Okay, so that's Touch. Like I said, I do really like that. And then we're gonna get into 2 more that I use only for myself. I don't use for her. I mentioned Shampoo because that is where my psoriasis bothers me the most, in the back of my scalp here in the bottom. So again, Neutrogena makes 2 shampoos that are really good. One is T-Sal, and that has salicylic acid in it. This is actually coal tar. Believe it or not, coal tar is one of the things that can help psoriasis on the scalp. And I use it just once a week if I feel it coming on. I use it once a week. You put it on in the shower. The directions are here. You leave it for 5 minutes. I just put it right here and then I rinse it out and then I wash my whole head with my normal shampoo. This stinks to high heaven. I will tell you, it smells so bad. But once you use your normal shampoo, it's kind of okay. And it works really well. But I only use it once a week if I'm kind of in a flare, okay? Last one. You guys are doing great for sticking with me here. This is Amlactin. I do not know how I stumbled upon this, but somehow I did back when I was having one of my worst flares with psoriasis. And I swear by it. And I keep one in the house at all times now. I only use it once a week on my own face because it does have parabens. And I don't like that at all. Parabens are preservatives. They're not good. But this has worked so well for me to manage, again, what's on my face, that I am just going to use it once a week, even once every 2 weeks. It's called Amlactin. This is the ultra soothing, and it does have the alpha hydroxy acid in it. Okay, but I only use it on my face. So let me review how we actually use these. Keeping in mind that KP can be there all the time. It might go away as they age. My daughter's has definitely decreased as she ages. Again, I'm doing this mostly so that she, as she learns about hygiene and how to manage things on her own, that she can just feel empowered and make decisions for herself on whether she wants to use things or not. I want to really find what I feel like are healthy products that can help and have them there for her if she wants them. And then psoriasis really comes in flares. It can go into remission and come back. Personally, I find it gets worse in times of stress. It can get worse if I eat a lot of sugar for a long period of time. Those kind of things really flare up my psoriasis. So I'm in a very much a management stage for it right now. So on a daily basis for our daughter, we use the KP Away every morning, every night, on her face, on her body. We use the Neutrogena face wash morning and night. That's what I use every day. That's the basic for her. And then I will use the touch on her face and her arms once or twice a week. And again, typically I just go in and put it on her face and her arms when she's asleep. Sometimes she'll let me do it after the shower. So that's just once or twice a week I do that. Okay, so that's what I do for her. And then for myself, I'm using the Amlactin as my night lotion once a week maybe, or once every 2 weeks. That's a management for my face. I use the T-Gel shampoo once a week or once every 2 weeks, again, just for management on the back of my head here. And then I am using the CBD salve. Again, if I start to feel a flare-up come on, I use the CBD salve and some coconut oil mixed on the back of my scalp here, or wherever it flares up, ears, back of my scalp, and I'll put it on in the morning and kind of reapply throughout the day. I tend to do it on a day I'm at home more. I just try to keep it really moist. As the plaques come off, I'll peel them off. And then that night I wash my hair like usual, and I will do that for like a 3-week period, maybe every other day or every 2 days on the days I wash my hair. That's what I do to really help if I find a flare-up coming up. And then finally, see a dermatologist as needed. Don't suffer through it. I am someone who just feels sometimes like I should just be able to handle things naturally, and sometimes you just can't. There's no reason to suffer through things. When I do go, I actually have a backup of a medicated shampoo that I keep if I get into a bad flare. It's here if I need it. She's just given it to me and said, this has helped you in the past, keep it if you need it. So I have it upstairs just in case I ever need it. And if I ever do get a flare-up like I've had on my face before, I will be there in a heartbeat to get medication to help it calm down. That was a lot of information I just gave you. I hope it does help. I hope it shows you that you have some options, that you can try different things, and if they don't work, move on to something else. I know what it's like to have to deal with these skin conditions. I also know that there are tools out there that we can use to help manage them. Don't be afraid to see a doctor and find someone who will listen to you and your needs throughout all of this. And thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.